Ani go zu kuin da la so ya ni nga so li just get them but le sha chonji.
So, first, hello to everyone. Welcome to today's class. We are on the English version, on page 93, on the verse 87. Yeah.
La so ni ji samba ma ta de lin ta mo cha chenin de ta shan de yang tun che je pi ge tong wa zi ti ta nga so ka chang so li ta mo tang ko ta ka cha she de ra so li ta ka ri che go re ti ni je ta la ni je ya po chu me pa le so li ta yo ma re li ze ta ta cho yo ma re ka ti na lu jim ba ze ta ke ta ni sa wa che jim ba ta ta sa wa che mo ri ta na so li an cho jim ba ta go re ze go ta ko jo man jo ni je sa ba ta so ma ta na ta yo ma re ze.
So verse 87 says, those who lack the pure intention of compassion should not give their body away. Instead, both in this and future lives, they should give it to the cause of fulfilling the great purpose. So last class we talked about this practice of generosity, of giving your body away. And the body is said to be something very precious, and we need to practice generosity with precious things to get used to doing this. But it says here that we shouldn't easily engage in these practices, for example, of giving your body away. Only when you have a very high level of compassion, of altruism, then it's possible to engage in these Bodhisattva practices.
Ina ya ta chenin de tang jan de ya ton che de pa ja tong si de ka se jemi par cha ga nyaw le zo ne li yan che tang go re zo jemi par cha ga nyaw le zo ti sem na ga ma chuni me ti ta so ga cha wa ka ri na mil tang tu sha sha ka pa sa lo na ta ke sa na te ni tang na re.
But then once a practitioner, once you perfect this practice of the perfection of generosity, then you can share anything without any stain of possessiveness. You can share anything with sentient beings. That's how your mind works at this stage.
La so tan ni ma ta te so li la un ra ze go na da sha shi ke che mo ro chi ina ma na ma ki pa la chu mo sha ma na bjan de go cha tan adik tan kar wan son to pa go yo pa ta la man zi ti tan da nga chu shi a ta je wa ta ten ri ka le che na ki ja me sa la ta ga zi chi ni ka ni ke tra chu shi na ya po yo ma res ani ne pan ra ten ri man na Chang Gon Rao Ngol Jamon Rao Gon Denyen Rao Lakpal Chigpan Rao Kar Denyen Rao Ngol Duktu Denyen Rao Ani Sonchan Rao Thon Denyen Rao Tendin Raman Rata Soleang Chushena Yapo Yomari Zever.
So the next verses, I think they're not very hard to understand, and I don't know how important it is for us to go through them. Verse 88 says, the Dharma should not be explained to those who lack respect, to those who like sick men wear cloth around their heads, to those holding umbrellas, sticks, or weapons, to those with covered heads. So basically, not to share the Dharma, anywhere or with anyone, with people that don't really care about the teachings, or as it's written here in the text, sick men wear cloth around their heads, etc.
No, that I disagree.
You disagree with what?
Like covering your head means like you're not dharmic? Is that what it means?
Tate Chikchena Kapti Yerso Kom Shimandro. Te Yapol Lombati Nangta Sosol Lomba Sosol Pena Natsopon Regina Lam the Conin Road, Lam got Okina Pedik Jasser. Lamko. Lamko Lapa Namlechani me told the keys on the Pedik Jasser. Lam Combal Conin Joy at the Mato. And though I know Sonshi the Sonal Ham the Combal Conin Jona Mitsogapochum, the pin King Jona Yaposin, then you Lomberman come to Capitija Karlichina Yoman.
So this I think these things were written based on the cultural context of Shantideva in that time. So maybe at the time they saw this as something disrespectful. Like for example in Tibet, we find very disrespectful if someone is carrying their shoes in their hands.
Oh, okay.
This is very disrespectful. The shoes should only go in the feet. And each country, they have their own cultural aspects. That some people are going to think it's disrespectful. In other places, it won't make sense.
But His Holiness, whenever they're doing the big rituals, so they always wear a headgear.
이래 그냥 공사초는 균 건축 부자 촉라 건축 샤모 세포 용기래. Yes, it's true. Yes.
It looks like Alexander, you know.
Yes, yeah.
맞죠.
The
됐더래.
yellow hat.
Yeah,
말에 추진이 디자모도 거니다테 제아탕아 소폴 마키 받으리요. 그때 야거니 릭소도 마. 라말이 야마키 받으고. 라말로 부자면 말에 나 추진이로 나로 그 자모 가리요나 때 거니 추진이 되나 라말 마키 받으고. 기점해 봐.
그러면 그런 계란도 déjà 뭐 겨나.
말마.
추신이.
추진이들인데 주니들.
알았어.
주니들 시고라. 마키 받으고 소장아 소 추지 살 자모 거니요 말에. 정말 네 마이나 자모 비그리 되니 라말이 양코 티초를 다티 추체니 티파루를 양 코로 드지게 양 자모 거야 되니 요리 다 소치지
아니 추신이 그냥 그 공처모 견투기래.
콘쳔보
말이 기겐 거랑 공처모 견투기래.
테테 제곤라오 티쳔가 카블 마토 간 나비 쫑 마레 제곤라오 티쳔가 무세 공고 사이나 주 공거리제 요 마레
Yes, in certain rituals they wear these these hats, but in Tibet we also consider as disrespectful wearing hats, like inside classrooms or when you go to request the dharma. If you're wearing a hat, it's considered disrespectful.
Okay.
So then they practice not wearing hats. Yes,
이나
something cultural.
포클 소트 야가르니다 인샤사 타초리 제시 자와라 소라 갑테티 야가르 그 롬바치클 소이 사리 상
And I think maybe this cultural aspect of ours probably also came from India. Maybe when the Dharma was being spread in Tibet, maybe they also brought this idea of the hat.
This was 1,000 years ago.
yeah.
But in Tibet, it's you.
The question, when we stream this teaching now on YouTube later, where everyone can watch it that is online, wouldn't that go against this verse?
나도 디 진짜 내가 저 유튜브에 샤기 아니 유튜브에 돈이 하장게 몽고를 지나 가시 네파리 가시 출라 그리 돈왕 요마리 근데
네바타 무세스 네 만나브진데 네바타 무시레다
라마사이나 베나 구샤미닌
당 닝원이체나 교토 시마요세오레 시마초마세 이 지니온나 알 추지 셰로치즈나 콜레셰쇼마토 셰로치말나 마시즈니 테 송요레다 데칸디나.
Yeah, so I think it's not saying that it's not allowed to say. Usually, not allowed to share the dharma. Usually, what we think is that if someone requests to receive the class, it's okay to share. If someone doesn't request, if someone doesn't ask, then it's not appropriate to go sharing the dharma with people that didn't request this.
That's condition.
And then maybe he didn't say, but maybe on YouTube, if they click on the video, it's like requesting, right? They have their own choice.
Yeah, I don't know, because it just said we shouldn't teach it to people where it's not appropriate to, that are like sick or whatever, so we don't know who's watching it.
But that was 1,000 years ago, so Shantideva at that time would be like thinking different. The labels were different, the awareness was different, the information was
It's not what Shantideva did nowadays, it's more about, is it okay, like we had this discussion recently with some teachers that say we shouldn't share Dharma online, exactly because of this reason. And I was wondering what Geshe Rangrig's opinion is to it.
Yeah, but no, nga tsu namgyu nga tsu YouTube na 진짜 tsu shangna. Ani di yapoyore yapoyomare kansa kong gigen sheba kashe konso yapoyomare labure. Di gengi. Imtsan di gengi konso di YouTube la shana yapoyomare. Ara mi mongpo la tauna yapoyomare. Yikirangi samtsu.
나로 삼스치는 르문도 삼. 가르제티 콜토 나메사 치는들이 시타그리 타기더니 거로요 말. 저 테스티 콜냠 길런지치 나출 토나치요 사치는들이 유튜브 카시그레 무기신 뜻다니 거로요 말.
I think it's okay, because I think that if we put these videos, these classes online, I think only people that have some interest that are going to watch these videos. If they don't have any interest, if they don't have any respect, I don't think they're gonna click on this video. So my opinion is that it's okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Then your man does have malazap and Geshe dance, Yepa me permanence. A man don't chop pituna, Somber keeper, somber keepy conductiosi Sunday, Chulangazo Tets and torment over your resin, your raise over the Nazo Nyantu, which you Taranja, which you Tepachimuchu the under that, Tets and Caprio Sonsa, Taco, Nyantu with Sambat and Mato Mesa Tanji in Ayon. Zapata Geshe was on Nengo Chimbo and Recall Shena Mandrisa in a shame, my own, they were pen at the canton botiga. Geshe Kaguri, man. Mem Mambala Geshe Pena, Chancho Kusefshena, Komaganya China, called Chancho Kusefshe, my own law. Tomba Nishina Maganya China, called Tomba Nimashi, Kashi the Tomba Nishina, Namandrosa, or Kashi Chancho Sevshina, Mamandrosa, or Tesula, Tachi Nando Satanishina Yapo, raising Corsul and Dopana Shomato, Zapata Geshe, she my own.
Okay, so verse 89 says, Nor to a woman unaccompanied by a man, the vast and profound should not be taught to less capable beings, although I should always pay equal respect to the dharmas of the lesser and higher beings. So here it says the word less capable beings, right? And it's referring to, we have three different vehicles in Buddhist practice. So there is the vehicles of the hearers, the solitary realizers, and the great vehicle of the Mahayana, the practice of Bodhisattvas. So here it's saying that depending on how someone is going to react, for example, if someone is very inclined to the practice of the hearers, he might not be very keen in listening about bodhicitta, the practice of the Bodhi mind or enlightenment mind. So therefore, we shouldn't provoke them. We shouldn't share this with them, and instead share another aspect of the teaching. Some people they might not like to hear about emptiness, for example. They might develop some dislike for the Dharma or for emptiness if they hear about it. So we can, for example, talk about mantras or other practices for them.
Ni kepa me papa me mazat dan do so na liorin da so pu su chapata ani to so lavinjera ani shu shenye china ko puta pomo sama yo salmato pu chambal nyam de shema on se ni ga chapan do chen chapa chu she we kapsa pa me chi poli chu she ni de ma de te ga cha yo pu pomo sama yo.
And then this the first part of the verse, it says, "Nor to a woman unaccompanied by a man." This is referring to the code of discipline of monks and nuns. So, for example, if you are a nun, maybe a fully ordained nun, I'm not sure, it's recommended that you don't share the Dharma, you don't give teachings only to men, in a room with only men. It should be mixed. And also for us monks, it's recommended that we don't share we don't stay in rooms with just women or just one woman, that it's safer for us to be in a mixed environment. Yes, so this is in the Vinaya, the code of discipline for monks and nuns.
Mandako chokuchunalan tomantan tamatel atso chutel tome mombo yores kyo chongo nyawlim rang nyawli chembo nyawli je wori ta tsol kujap tan somba chin kujap che kore mangda te samawari sin cheso che atan da yazi kapo che atan ri chena yapo yomaris.
And it says in the last part, although I should always pay equal respect to the dharmas of the lesser and higher beings. Because even though we can discriminate, we can think that there is the Mahayana vehicle, there are the hearers' teachings, there's the solitary realizers. We should pay equal respect to each one of them, to each part of the teachings, and not think, oh, this is something very basic or something not a real Dharma. This I like very much, the Mahayana aspect, etc.
Lasatani yaje chukino kirwa tambi chula pyamabja kyopa yonsu torma jamdo ta nga tinji mabja zena tachi ta doparion chuta so shiu yapo cheto ni tepa chimbo ta tanji gi chutro yapo chete ni nani chi nganda o chi dang da pechan ro chi kandon ro chi ni tanji sha ma jang ni pa lobjong to so konsan chokwe ti na lobjong to so shi chimbo che ni ta chu kya chimbo shi to ni tanji na manin ro chik dawni de ya the kandon ro chini de ya tandri ma che sungu yori ta kital dopa.
And then here, the verse 90 brings, in a way, the opposite of the other one. I should not communicate the Dharma of a less capable being to one who is a vessel for the vast Dharma. I must not forsake the Bodhisattva way of life, nor mislead others by means of sutras and mantras. So, like, I think His Holiness also has said that if the crowd or if the public, if someone is interested in deeper aspects of Buddhist philosophy and practice, we shouldn't only share with them, only talk to them about reciting money mantras, just reciting money mantras or just doing the prayers. We should encourage them to pursue deeper studies of the path.
But how do we know about, like, in the temples there are thousands of people and we don't know on which levels they are. We don't know, and it's a mixed crowd. Some people might be complete beginners, other people might be on the level of tantric teachings. So how do we know and how do we decide?
Penagonsa chonamgyun kong disum chola mi tongta mongere mi tongi mongere chna khashe konso doire chikashe doire nga tsagandas rashegere na timi rikmon boyana
tat hachani ketani kapore ina konsan chokko nabyen tendri konsan chok soncho sonko le sonto shundu tendri mandra momboyo sonsa tendri yon koti jambachik chenita Jonganal pa torcho ta tsognal kyoni mansani yanchi son ton chindu densa ta tsol sonchu son yondi out so kyoni ko mundu zene tindi law ta so lobjon ya poche sani ko re te son sa lama quand tout si chetan chego sari ngoni tsama sanjan chida kapora.
Yeah, so it is quite complicated to cater for every being present, every student present. His Holiness he does balance in a interesting way. When we see him teaching here in Dharamshala, where many lay people and many beginners come, he speaks in one way. He refers to the Dharma in one way. He doesn't go to many details or many things that could raise doubts. But when he goes to the monasteries in South India, when he comes to the monasteries, the way he speaks is very different. It's a way that when the lay people go to these teachings, they say that they couldn't understand anything. So of course it's very hard to cater for everyone that is in the crowd, but he tries to balance the best he can.
Tandi cholo katani gach course pat chotin correndo so chantan chalmata toratan gapatan chawala so long kyon chetan lan dorm chaziti tandan nga so keni ka ina ma chang ze atre keni so chang ze nga chunge ma so chya de shin sa ro so shin re tani chamaro chamana ha kondo chamala so pat so ka ina yug ma jas keni ka ina yug ma jos ani chambala so pa min ton ya chim tanga chunti basu chanal mamo mo zo ti kan chana so chimba tan ro tri gu jut ma ches saman ro che so chotin kori.
So in the next one, I think it's about health and about the environment. Maybe it says, when I spit or throw away the stick for cleaning my teeth, I should cover it up with earth. Also, it is shameful to urinate and so forth in water or on land used by others. So yeah, it's basically don't throw trash around, because if you're cleaning your teeth, don't just throw it anywhere. And also, for example, here in the Box River, if you're going to urinate, don't do it next to the water, in the water. Yeah, it's quite straightforward, I think.
Kapka pata dabchi tan kapdan in zamapcha. Ashkamba kyande mandik chan lakpa myambar mamni ozi tande kalazata kita chikeni to so jantanda tande so ta chiketa so da yapon yore se ndo ngemanga so gepa de chaupa shigra ge chigel peti tseletin dawa kalazata ande keni sama Santong lapcha sama chigel kor ranging lomba chashas kaso chabat soletin riya bomundu songudi tadere kalazati kadani zane jatani zate ninjo zatama juani kamba kyan lapa kyan jamanda chini dete anjo otso yapo yomare songyor.
And verse 92, when eating I should not fill my mouth, eat noisily or with my mouth wide open. I should not sit with my legs outstretched nor rub my hands together. I think for this, the Westerners are experts, are much better than we are in these manners of eating, right? So here it's about manners of eating. And my main teacher in the monastery, Geshe once he went to the West, and he was very impressed with the manners when eating of the Westerners. And when he came back, he told us that those countries were an example for us in this regard, and that we should learn to have better manners in the table as monks. Yeah. So when you're eating, you're not wild. You're controlling. You're aware and mindful of every action you take.
Jomba Martin ni tartes, premier jantar mabjas, jikte mate keroak, tondan jite pan chazitande, tagigan le chuche picata chipan rore, tajonin joa inari, tel madia inari, tenjina pameta nyamda, tatrabata laura, aneina, potazo nyamda tenjitia yomaris, dona, mazo chulete pachini so trapa inari, aneina, ton di mata patalo kia kyoba marap mata panchato
Connected?
Huh? Maybe this phone, yeah, probably. Or no?
No, but it's on my mobile data.
Sorry. Okay. It's your on the mobile data. Data
That's what we did already.
It's okay. Was it? Can you hear us? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I can hear you now. Yeah, thank you.
That's
Nice. Okay.
Pedro, can you pin the phone again?
Yeah, true. Yes.
And did you click record again?
It's recording already.
good.
Yeah, so verse 93, similar to the previous one, the other one we talked about. I should not sit alone in vehicles, upon beds, nor in the same room with the women of others. In brief, having observed or inquired about what is proper, I should not do anything that would be disliked by the people of the world. So here in a similar way, as we talked before in the Code of Discipline, we have these vows for nuns, for example, of not being alone with men in vehicles, riding together with men in beds in the same room, or if you're a monk, with women. And this last part is because as we represent Buddhism in a way, the Buddhist practitioners, if we engage in activities that will seem questionable or morally questionable to other people, they might give rise to a lack of faith. It might hinder their faith in the Buddha Dharma. If you see a monk or a Buddhist practitioner doing something you don't like, you can give rise to, oh, Buddhism is not so good, maybe they are not so nice. So that's why we need to be careful about this.
Tanda so tsama chetani lila sormo dana mapchate kipi kutam chipi ipai lapa tana kunji kyang lamya te tamba shatar kachan rachitana lamda toag rosa karizin tindi rezini machine lapa ni chino to pandro korezini lapa datani che kores lila
Di pola di machine pola di da chegore.
Pola shata lalendi
Di gaga nangamu. And then I should not give directions with one finger, but instead indicate the way respectfully with my right arm, with all my fingers fully outstretched. And I asked Geshe if in Tibet they also have this custom. He said in Tibet no. In Tibet we don't really have this practice.
Yeah,
lapa shi
Yeah.
lapa shi
raise your hand.
When I was disrespectful, it didn't listen.
Trapat sol polanda yost. Trapat sol polanda shuche ra yape mape chichi.
That's a Yes, he just said that the monks they do a point like this, and I remember that Geshe Jampa, he always does this. He always does like this with his hand. No, I don't know if you can remember. He always.
Lapa shi che kyo mante chonza kyo pa drapchini senko la sob dai na janta Mabda gente mabda perché rose tanto so che tanto so essere ci che gonna che ci mo ma già se ni la paina se incontro ci da ci mo pa da ci mo ma ci tenne da ci reta.
Verse 95, nor should I widely wave my arms about, but should make my point with slight gestures and a snap of the fingers, otherwise I shall lose control. So advice is that to keep our mindfulness as the topic of this chapter, as how we should communicate, not being very abrasive with grand gestures, very loud voice, like I'm doing right now, but with gentle gestures that make it easier to be mindful. I think many foreigners, they have this a bit naturally, this behavior.
When we talk about these verses, some seem to apply only for monastics and some seem to apply for everyone. How do I know which one is for who?
Pena Chushepi Kable Auchi Trapachina Pomesian de Dema de Zandro Anaina Trapachi Tendina Aulundea Yomaro Aulete Gachati Yomaro. Jem much than the Kyopata Sumitomal Guer in Dorje.
So the only parts that are especially for monks are the parts related to the things that a monk should avoid. For example, what it said about being together with a woman in a room, if you're a man, or alone with a man. These things are not related to a lay person's life. The rest are related to everyone.
But how do we know what are the rules for a monk and what are not? Like now with the pointing with the hand, for example. But also being in a room, like it could also be an issue, like you said, being in the room with someone's wife or something. I think that is not good for everyone. So I'm not sure with some of the things what is like. It's not saying for monastics or.
Tatetsu Taranri, Tat Magiachi Corona Loyam Zag Chol Toyum Gora, Jimmy Jambandia, Laban the Dachat, get on the coronas and the Yichul tensions. Not so long battle in the Kijab Segon and the Riches, and the Kijab Segon at the Nichin and the Bush. Kijab Dots do not Kujapan Chipuni, love that on, take the Salman Goris.
Yes, this pointing with the hand in our country, it's recognized as a gesture of politeness for everyone, not only for monks, to do things with the full hand like this. That's how it is in our country. And of course, if being in a room goes to the direction of sexual misconduct, which is a rule observed by the lay community, Buddhist community also, then it also should be avoided.
Gomom Yang and the Tando Pichos in Yaroja, Shivim near to dance into Tomanyet and Niperkions in Danda Nitandere. Yet Dandi Yang Tatanlina Mishi Tade Narun Chetomandu, my Nimi Kazan, Sanjicho than the Gombazoti Nitanching door, Zumtanching door, or the Richie Nigores, and in my new Capsian Tang and the Richimani, the Sanch and the Richiku Yalani, Chuchegi, 27 Samlo Shivjan Chipaziti, Tindimato, Kazeni Kuna, Yedi, Substantinicia, Matiso Tata, Chegors, how about the Chapat Solo, Chiso Jamato Nia, Tisoche, Marido, some much at the Junira, Chituni, the Tumbasum Tani, Tumbachimato, Nima Enson. No Corona, you
and then verse 96, I cannot really practice this. It's about how to sleep. So the way that it's said for us to sleep is like the Buddha passed away. There is a posture of the Buddha which is resting on his right side, a bit like this. And the advice for us is that we should go to bed thinking, okay, I'm going to sleep at this time, I'm going to wake up at this time. So not going to bed thinking, I'm going to sleep as much as I want, or not thinking about it. And as monks, in the code of discipline, in the Vinaya, it's said to us that the night has 12 hours. We should only sleep 1/3 of the night, so 4 hours. That's the allotted time for us to sleep, yes. And then we should go to sleep thinking, I'm going to wake up at this time and keep practicing the Dharma. But very few people can practice like this. Yes. There was one previous Ganden Chipa. You know Ganden? There was a previous Ganden Chipa, I think. First he said the 100th, but now he corrected himself. So no, I think it was the 101 Ganden Chipa. Ganden Chipa is the head of the Gelugpa lineage. He's elected every few years. And he's also from his monastery, from Drepung Loseling, and he's saying that he used to sleep exactly like this. He could do this practice very well. He would just go to sleep, wake up at this time. But I think he had attained coma abiding, this very powerful concentration of the mind, because he was very old and he was so loose, his body was so loose, his mind was so bright, etc.
Da tsere kichena chise gelmani na zupol tetno grese kurata ko chise ni sum tenli ni marese ten zupon ten ya por konlo gobche khaton re tanda ko yam re tetan trotel chabre yosa marese miso sheng ta ko so den ja kol tai on dita ko chise ni samato ni yo maro ina zupo ajan ya po konlo chemboro.
Yes, and it's a bit mysterious. He's not so much like us to do this practice, because nowadays science says we should sleep at least 8 hours a day, right, to have a proper healthy body. But he used to sleep 3 to 1 hour per day, and even with 85, 90 years old, he's so healthy and he's quite okay with it. But I think it's hard to compare and to try to do the same.
But in a lot of monasteries, like in Vietnam, they still follow this. They're only allowed to sleep 4 hours.
4 hours, quand du Vietnam là, quand on peut qu'on se chima to ni to gioma re quand tu ni chegere.
Also saba imbikavla gonda mani ti chse tombo ni pa tenri rendo ndo ni jokia. Yes,
when we were young, also in the monastery, we went to sleep 1, 2 a.m. and after 6 a.m. it's not allowed to wake up, so we had to wake up before. So we also probably slept about this time also. But we had a lot of physical issues with this, yeah, it wasn't easy.
So only tanjik de yongore liga pal chancha se pikyo pata zamme pan sombali sem yongwa ikyo pan ni partes kero chazi di ta kon ma chancha se pikyo pa hajani seliki pa mombo chi she jaore danda te liga zu pogun tu tandra ni tan yan choni tama chi she jaore ta su tan sem jama tres ra so sem tama zoat ke chi jo tres ngor chancha se pikyo pa mombo chi yopin. Son due, siamo per son ballet zero.
Son ballet.
Se abbiamo il chioppane ni pati. Ma so chancha se pichiopatela. Se li che faccio ore, sama so cheto marwa, chama chenda sama. Tati non che ci sono zauza che go yango so samlo ya pochiat. Sem jonat,
So verse 97 even though, there's so many things that are mentioned as the practice of a bodhisattva, even if we cannot practice exactly like this, the most important practice is to train our mind, to take care of our mind.
Last one, Yandang Samo last of the Pombos and Bandabantandima, Kandun Ro, Tizo Korsheongudo, Yertam Chancho, Siptini, Stone Lhama Devish Nozi Tangato, nhưng đồng chân để làm được phải chỉ nhiên là xem gì nào mình chỉ thân trực xe用过才rồi大家来什么嘛thân trực đối với phong bố sinh viên đó thì nó tổng sản gì đấy chứ đó ngồi đây phong bố sinh viên thì ngã xuống đi phong bố sinh viên thì công sản cho công bố chỉ tròn đủ ta nạp chỉ sắc bát thì im bari sắc bát ta chỉ si rong wa ta Trung Quốc qua thì thân trực giản đủ ya ta nạp yên chút cho nó phong bố sinh viên đó thì Dupa tham chalan son tham chalan GC rangwazi ti shaqpat ta GC rangwatani karjan soande patisam de dramade ta ti parchinik sar ta ya rasara pombo sambin don do sho son ri tu ton chang se piton ta so ya po dupa ya po takares aso ta ki
Dupa ya po takares ton sha dans je suis
dans mari pombo samlam do pombo sambata pombo samde shaqpa
chaque pas.
Je suis là.
Ani
que j'en sois indépendant, moi, sois indépendant,
And 3 times by day and 3 times by night, so 6 sessions, I should recite the sutra in 3 sections. For by relying upon the Buddhas and the Bodhicitta, my remaining downfalls will be purified. This sutra in 3 sections contains the practices of confession, so purification, rejoicing, and requesting, so requesting the Dharma. So these are the 3 sections that's recommended to practice 6 times a day.
Last patete jipchaz magiachiro rangam jengi wan jini nikap kanda chifkyocha la parsamba kanyimba or nikap telamba parchazi tanda la parsamba ketan satumi la pata tangin la pata shiraki la pazeora tan nikap tata la pasam
Tsuchimi lapa
tangin la shiraki la pasam nikap la kershia chize ore pena ngaso zopan rawchina control longi kal tata to zopa gomto achi kore mong control malani kepochini de ukavla ma sama kepochi dis kan control de mara control andro chondo tanga control andro chen control tingal kani ma to che mari tikavli jar gores ani jamban ro chitana puki kangin ro chi che gosa chi le ti che kore ma to che mo gosa chi le jamba tanga ye che de na yom te ti na la pa kanda kaina kor kap ta kabla tata on cho chi ni sorcho pa ta china chi se tron ro che so se tron ji kanjap chena chi chet se aina jorle se aina se tron ro chi otate se na nyeng mar san katu te samjato atil kap ta kabli jar so son
Nindi Tsuchimi lapa dandi
tangin zingi la pas ketan la pa kan la zit la pa zidiat ketan yon chakot la parsam zidit la or ina yon di kavs la pa te chancho se pi la pa samal ko ora yon chak na bi kero chimbo la parsam ze chi or kam dele chancho se pi kyo pa la pa tro te kap ta kabla ta gersh gerto chi so
So verse 99, whatever I'm doing in any situation, whether for myself or for the benefit of others, I should strive to put into practice whatever has been taught for that situation. Geshe was explaining that there is a word here, lakpa, that's used in the Tibetan that usually means the 3 higher trainings, but that's not the what's referring to here. That's why I was asking him to clarify what was the connection. And here what it's saying is there are many things to practice in Dharma. There are many Buddhist different practices recommended by the Buddha and by teachers. And we should only practice something. We should practice things according to the context that we find ourselves. So for example, if we want to practice patience, we need to have something that would cause us to have anger. If we're in a very happy context, and there's nothing that could harm our happiness in any way, we cannot practice patience. So we should apply the teachings according to what environment we find ourselves. For example, with the practice of generosity, etc.
So what do we practice in the we are happy about everything situation?
Chapoyoti Navyang Golish, and you go to Navyang Navyang Ziati Tikabletani, Semba Tembola Meaka in a Shondra Shiora, Semba Chapoyo Picable, Chichena Chapan Parchegere, Namyan the Yembara, Jamba Chapan, Namyan Ziat semba tembo ro mukpan chil tembo ro la mateni nga so chamba go doshong ro ra
Tempo tok shuru.
ta dosho ta ta ma
Yeah, at happy moments like this, we should maybe be careful with distractions. Not allow our minds to become too distracted by this happiness, being attached to happiness. Yes.
Jersey nam ji la pa na ten Jersey nam ji mar la pa ten ka yo mandis terta ni pim ki pa la so na manjer ka yo mes ta jes chance se pa so ko pa pe celi gi pa centom bo la pa che yorela so go ten ji la pa lap thonan ta so num celi me celi centom bo sa ya ta she ma go are ro chi re sha te Jersey chance se pa nam ji nyamlim ha chang centom bo che yo ma la pa ka yo maris ta te najen chim ki pa ta so laptop sona ta so virina sina te najen to na so no chimo manjo yo maris te tarani pim ki pa la ziti te najen laptop getla ta so no chimbo sa yim bare se vor
verse 100, there is no such thing as something that is not learned by a conqueror's son. Thus, if I am skilled in living in this way, nothing will be non-meritorious.
La tani musam yana ge jaro semcha to li jam makyat semcha khuni ton gipchar tamcha chanchipchar ngo zeodi ta ngo ta chi pale ongu anga so yasi chancha se pa chi na ta ra ye sari ongusi yenari jinni yenari katina jando ma to ran to chi sawa ni saulo tang yo samari semcha khuni to ma to so saulo tang maris tendi chena chanchup ko gesa te am chanchup sena sanji ge sal ndogres anga so nam ja genda emjezati Tararwa, Jangaton the Chedena, Tonda the Sosoya, Tijolan Jumnindo, Janto, Musadron around to Shilland of Deo. Karazidinga to Kalakamba, Chixanayon, Mikazes Kaliganitinga to Kanayon Goremato, Lamsanta, Yon Chochia, Mas Biscochi, Dodo Chixava, Letic, Kazichi Mombo Giyot. So what's a summer and that's a tenny deity. That's a summer hack Koya Chikarko, Samuli Choladan and that's a 10 Saturdays in the Tehako deal. Pinal deni mut so nga so ten sa tre chik par to so kyo ma chi nga so kan change o te she wor ta mu sa gene jan to che shos
whether directly or indirectly, I should not do anything that is not for the benefit of others, and solely for the sake of sentient beings I should dedicate everything towards awakening. And I think it's like this with the practice of Bodhisattvas. They either anything they do directly or indirectly, they're always only thinking about others. They're never thinking anything at all about their own benefit. And this is a very high states, of course. And for us to practice this, it's helpful for us to consider interdependence or dependent arising. What does this mean? It means for us to reflect and recognize how by benefiting or helping others, we are helped indirectly. That our every happiness that we have is made of elements of happiness outside of us. For example, just for us to eat one piece of food, for example, for us to have this happiness, how many beings or how many things have to come together to give us this food? And if we don't take care of these elements that brought us this food, we are going to suffer. And some of us, we can realize that we live in this earth, we live in this planet, and if we don't take care of the planet, we are going to suffer. But likewise, we also depend on ourselves, on society, on people, on beings, and if we don't take care of people, we're also going to suffer.
Yes. Tapar give shanin teacher to lam ki patang chancho se terjim cho so ki chayam maktongo se tande ndiksaro give shanin te pachum teacher to lam ki patang chancho se terjim cho so ki chayam maktongo se ta so tapar la give shanin tenge ta techem te pachum chancho ke kyo pat so na je sa bachim bochini son chose and tenjire ndiksaro.
Verse 102, never even at the cost of my life should I forsake a spiritual friend who is wise in the meaning of the great vehicle and who is a great Bodhisattva practitioner.
Tandani ma chindro ko ina chitsu yashino. Duka chindro. Par chongwa inam tatam lama tensar tar lama tembi tsartani dani sanji kap sarwa Dorje blagni shipar cha zidi tandani pan ki ma jonti tsundani ndri ta shokzini lamjo Gewishani tensar ta shiore ta gewishani tensar da tanda ki par chong ko jon norzon la dambi nantar zaya chi yosara tena nga so ne je manyo ta manyo ina ya jitsa mela ripa nga so pol shani tensar keta cheshot jitsa mela ripa ro tamar ba tensar tare ta tili korchi je goina tensar ta ko ngoni toni ko ro tamar ba lo sa zaya ko lomba corona lo tomba chi ko pala chi sare ko ro jeme da bu zamayo jinga da mo tini de lomba tele keta shu me sa ko jagal lo mombolo pemne sonchu mombolo lentini jon di tari mo le keta yo ni jitsa mela ripa ko sa sonchu je kayon di te ko sonchu noro che o mai na ser kashose ser na ke jegri ser sel che ayo na ke sonchu non crecer me na ke sonchu noro che me tatin di ja ta ko le ser che ame te ni ko kamba ja ro chi kuli che sho ani kamba ko mischig le ropa se kan che ma jin kamba chama jab chi te la sel ko le chu ta na ten di che am so ta ti lama te kyoba maram do kaun ro shu jin thon ta ko ro en sam sam te sem chi cha sa ri nyama chi pe te sem chi cha ta choni ro re se ni
Su sem shi
chi da mela chi ta kawan ba yo sa ro ta kawan ba ti pukin ro ni rigan le cha ku sa re te cha chi ku me chi ta sa ma a chi che ni ta par chi cha thon ni pa chi ta ti ma koron kori ta le kanji jiwa kawan le ji de na ha kwe kan ba ji
that's a
ji kan de or mo mo bo chi san ro de ro sam ti sam lo ta ni koro chi ma to mo koro cha chi ku ala tan ri mo bo chi ro ti ta ki tam chu jo ala ta mo bo chi kali jab ta jab sali on pan ro res tan ri kali jab jab
di chi re ani kong
ko cha te ma chi ku ala ji kan sa ro tan ri mo bo chi ro go go ra kali mo bo chi cha chi ke ala kali mo bo chi jab go go re ko so kala te ma chi zo ala pa ju tsi ju tan ri mo bo chi che sa kang na Kanginal koro vici kante ora.
Di Shantidevas.
Koro. Mi koro chikbo mangi yomar. Tandik sa tango masana tandi kali jab jam ni ta pesha ta sona cheya yomar kali jab jam la salon sonchu nombai. Tani jita mela di bacha.
Yang sira sangra nan. Di dinge gotsama san di kotsu kale gagere su kale gagere.
Jita mela di ba koro lama le kamba jan roche ni kamba le ni kale shuja ora. Tako kale chemundu rogi sani pondro. Takoro chati machiku ala kale kase jabwa te jiltani hakores. Gosoi.
Koron kon jaso yadi.
Chati machik zo ala kale tadi chik jabwa na tambi chujo ala kale jabwa da gosani ni pandores.
And verse 103, I should practice entrusting myself to my spiritual master in the manner taught in the biography of the glorious Sambhava. This and other advice spoken by the Buddha I can understand through reading the sutras. And now, for the rest of this, for some verses now, Shantideva recommends a few sutras or texts for us to read and study. This in particular, I believe it's about how to rely on a spiritual master, but I've never come across this text, the biography of the glorious Sambhava. In Tibet, we usually refer to the life of Marpalotsawa. Maybe some of you have heard. He was a lay person. He had a wife and children living in the village, and he had a disciple called Milarepa that went to him asking for teachings, and Marpalotsawa told him, "Okay, give me some gold, and I can teach you." But he had no gold to give, so Marpalotsawa said, "Okay, so I cannot teach you. Maybe you can build some houses for me. You can build something for me." So he went to build it, and many people in the village thought this Lama was very strange or very mean towards him. And even Jetsun Milarepa, he also sometimes was very tired and he gave up also a few times, wanting to give up on this learning about the Dharma. And there is a story that once he had just built a house for Marpalotsawa, and Marpalotsawa came and said, "No, that's the wrong way to build a house. Please demolish this house." And he was very upset, and he wanted to give up the practice, so he went back to his cave, and he was hungry, so he went to find a way to make tea for himself. And it wasn't so easy for him to make tea there in the middle of the cave, to find the things, all the ingredients and things to make the tea. And he also had to make a lot of effort for this. And so he thought, well, if I need to make an effort even to eat food in this world, so why not just spend my energy trying to learn the Dharma if everything else is also so hard? So he went back to build the house again. So maybe we leave here. I think it's our time. Do you have any questions?
I want to. The rest of the story, did he get the teaching?
아니 지tumila com chu nem vê de dichela.
J'ai tenho lá tendan kamba sergo zeate col sermeada hacorata jitamela tangema mi mombo sevre keroa tukiani mi mombo se chinrawo tni te dugpa chembo ingi ko dugpa ta ko pesha mara ha koya te kamba tema jujabre tamba jejab chini ni nijimata ni kola sonchu non koro dawa mombo le sonchu non ni ta sachandini jingro ni koro gomjamni ro shozeni shina sacha kucho chili atani madde maonseni teni gomjamni achanke rachimbo chara.
Yes, he did get teachings by the end of the story, which is a long story. And the reason he requested for gold is he knew that Milarepa didn't have any money. And Milarepa, in his younger years, he killed many people. He engaged in very negative behavior. So he was full of regret coming to Marpa. And Marpa had to find a way to purify, to clean his mind before sharing any teachings with him. But then after some time, he did teach Milarepa for many, many months and told him to go to a cave and keep meditating as much as he could. And he did so. He became very famous yogi. Yeah. Thank you. Any questions, Jennifer? Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Geshe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Translation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.